A few weeks ago, life completely stopped for me, not by choice. You see, I had to go in for some pre-planned surgery, and whilst I was assured by those in the know that everything should be okay, it certainly wasn't something I was looking forward to. I knew I'd spend up to a week in hospital, and I also knew I'd need to spend some time at home in the recovery process afterwards. But what I didn't know was that those quiet days would end up changing the way I looked at life. Obviously, I've had quite a few people asking me how I'm doing, and thankfully the answer is really well. The surgery was successful, my recovery, despite a few rough days, has gone to plan, and I'm genuinely grateful for that. But if I'm completely honest, something happened during those days that I never expected. I thought I was taking time out simply to recover from the surgery. But what I didn't realise was I was also recovering from a life that had become just a little bit too noisy. Not busy, just noisy. And somewhere between the hospital and the downtime at home recovering, something shifted. I don't feel like I've become a different person, but I did let go of a lot of things. So today, I'd like to share and tell you what's gone on for me. It's not a blow-by-blow description of the surgery, rather, it's about the personal reset I've undergone and how I now view life. And given it's happened to me, I reckon I'm probably not the only one who could benefit from an occasional reset. Now, before we get stuck in, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to those of you in the comments that wish me well and all the best after I mentioned the upcoming surgery in a previous video. I really appreciate it. And look, as this channel is about sharing, my situation was I've had Crohn's disease for most of my adult life, and in the last couple of years the condition changed where I needed to have a section of my bowel removed to avoid anything sinister down the track. So with that out of the way, here's what went on for me. One thing I've realised over the past few weeks during this episode is that life has an interesting way of putting things into perspective. Most of us spend our days moving from one thing to the next, even in retirement. I sure do. We finally have more freedom, yet somehow we still manage to fill our diaries. There's projects, appointments, errands, things around the house that we need to do, family and social commitments, keeping up with the news, checking our phones. It's not necessarily bad, it's just constant. Then all of a sudden, none of it mattered. Because recovery has a way of simplifying life. Your body sets the agenda and takes total control. It decides when you need to rest and reminds you that the healing can't be rushed. You know, I went into hospital thinking, oh God, I've got so much to do and I can use this as an opportunity to do stuff. Things like research things, write scripts for videos, whatever. But no, that didn't happen. I had to totally let go, and it was liberating because I came to realise that I didn't want my old normal back. In saying that, I didn't feel that there was anything overly wrong with my life. I was happy, I still am. But happiness and clarity aren't always the same thing. Sometimes we can be living a pretty good life while quietly carrying things we really don't need anymore. Both lying in hospital and then later doing so quietly at home, I noticed something. My mind wasn't going where I expected it to go. I wasn't thinking about money. I wasn't thinking about being busy doing things. I wasn't thinking about buying another gadget or planning another trip. Instead, I found myself thinking about much simpler things. Who do I really enjoy spending time with? What parts of my life generally energize me? What am I holding on to, or more to the point, tolerating, simply because I've always been prepared to? And perhaps the biggest question of all, how do I want to spend whatever time I have left? Now, before you think this is all about having surgery, it isn't. I think surgery was simply the interruption. The real gift was the pause. Because without all the usual distractions, I could finally hear myself think. And I realised some of the things I've been giving my time and energy to simply don't deserve it. That period of reflection suddenly didn't give me all the answers, but it did make a few things surprisingly clear. I realised there are some things I genuinely want less of in my life. Things like less negativity, less unnecessary drama, less feeling like I need to have an opinion on everything that's happening in the world, or having arguments with those who have a different opinion to mine. Less saying yes when my heart is quietly saying no, less worrying about things I can't control. Less noise and general BS. And perhaps the biggest one, less guilt about protecting my own peace. For a long time, I think I confused being available with being helpful. I confused being busy with being productive. And I confused saying yes with being kind. And I'm no longer sure those things are true. The interesting thing about letting go is that it creates space. And that's what I found myself getting excited about. Not what I was leaving behind, but what I was making room for. I just gave you the less of this, so here's my more of one. Starting with more creativity. During my recovery, I listened to and watched a lot of music, especially concerts. And I really took note of the lyrics because they give me ideas. I've just moved house and one of the projects is to decorate the walls with posters and art pieces. And I'm taking my time on this because as ideas come to me. I guess I just love chasing an idea and putting down those thoughts in a notebook. Through these videos, I can put thoughts into words that might help someone else make sense of their own life. So yeah, that was a lovely realisation. I also want more learning. That for me has a connection with creativity because it's curiosity based. More personal development. Whilst retirement eliminates the need to go to work, I see it opening up this space more so and find myself ever wanting to be the best version of me. More meaningful conversations. More time with people who leave me feeling lighter rather than heavier. This was probably the standout one for me because I'm just sick of negativity and bad energy. And obviously more looking after my house rather than assuming it'll always look after me. Because if this experience has taught me anything, it's that our health really is the foundation that everyone else sits on. We don't know what's around the corner, but we can choose to give ourselves the best possible chance by being proactive today rather than reactive tomorrow. This was one thought that kept returning during those quiet days. For years, I concerned myself with what others were thinking, rather than putting myself first. I was worried about and wondered whether protecting my own time, my own energy, my own peace was somehow selfish. Well, I don't think I believe that anymore, because if looking after myself allows me to become calmer, healthier, more pleasant, more creative, then surely everyone around me benefits too, right? So maybe that's not selfish. Maybe it's simply taking responsibility for the one life we've been given. So has the surgery changed me? Look, sure, in some small physical way, but overall, no. I don't think it did. But what it most definitely did do was interrupt my life long enough for me to allow myself to hear thoughts I'd been talking over for years. Thoughts that were there, but had been patiently waiting for a little bit of quiet. And what I've come to realise is that a reset isn't about becoming someone new. It's about stripping away everything that stops you becoming more of who you already are. That's certainly how I feel today. Thankfully, healthier. But perhaps more importantly, clearer. Clearer about what matters. Clearer about what doesn't. And strangely grateful. Not grateful that I needed the surgery, because I wouldn't wish that upon anyone. But grateful for the perspective it gave me. Because sometimes life doesn't just slow us down. Sometimes if we're prepared to listen, it quietly points us in a better direction. And I think that's exactly where I'm heading. So that's my story from this recent experience, and I'm really keen to hear your thoughts. Does any of this resonate with you? Have you had an experience in life that's changed your perspective on things and how you view life? Leave a comment below because I really love to hear from you and your thoughts and insights. At this point, I usually say thanks for watching, but in addition to that, I want to say thanks for listening. See you in the next one, guys, and bye for now.